Chapter 419. The other sect masters were all astonished. This Wenlu actually has such a cultivation. No wonder he dared to volunteer. Hong Tai also revealed a trace of astonishment. This person has already touched the doorstep of the Overlord realm. In time to come, he will be able to take half a step into the ranks of the Overlords. In the near future, he will also become an Overlord. As for how long this near future would take, it might be tens of thousands of years. After all, it is not so easy to become an Overlord. The various deities felt Wenlu's aura and revealed a look of joy. There is hope, Sect Master Wen will definitely be able to win. Is there even a need to say that? This is simply using a sledgehammer to crack a nut, even I would be able to do it. Using a sledgehammer to crack a chicken, what a waste. Wenlu's aura ignited the fire of hope in the originally depressed deities. Before the battle even started, there were already people who were celebrating their first victory. Yihua looked at these salted fishes and laughed lightly. Laugh, laugh, you all don't have much time left to laugh, enjoy the joy brought by the rest of your lives, despair has only just begun. On the battlefield, Wenlu's aura had already risen to the peak, to the point where he felt that he would be able to break that pure white jade neck of the other party with a single hand. Take out your weapon. Wenlu shouted out. Facing such an aura, the other party actually remained indifferent. Either the other party came prepared, or the other party was scared silly. It should be the latter. Furthermore, the other party did not even take out her weapon. It would give off a feeling that the victory was unfair. What was there to show off about winning against a woman, let alone a woman who did not have a weapon? Tang Wei's expression did not change at all. The biting cold aura blew onto her body, causing her beautiful hair to flutter, and the dress that she wore on her body to flutter. My hands are the best weapons. Tang Wei clenched her fist and slowly spat it out. Hands. The various deities all went into a daze for a moment, then burst out laughing. This woman is crazy. Boasting shamelessly. To actually use her hands to fight against a sect master who possesses an ancient godly weapon, this is undoubtedly courting death. This is truly a woman who uses her hands to achieve her dreams. Wenlu's expression slightly changed. This woman is truly too arrogant to actually say such arrogant words, she is simply not putting me in her eyes at all. Fine. Today, I shall let you experience what true strength is. The moment he finished speaking, Wenlu's aura increased explosively, and the pear flower in his hand emitted a dazzling white light. Heart-destroying sword. The surrounding temperature instantly rose, as if all the water molecules had been sucked dry. It was as if he was in a desert. A beam of sword light swept over, bringing with it a momentum that could overturn the world, as if it wanted to crush everything in the world. This sword had reached the state of being one with the sword. To Wenlu, displaying such a sword art was a kind of enjoyment. It was a beautiful melody, and it was also the best moment to comprehend sword arts. At this moment, time seemed to stop, and only the sword was in his eyes. The gods all held their breaths when they saw the Heart Destroyer sword technique being used right at the start of the battle. This was the power of a sect leader. The mountain and sea sect's reputation was indeed well-deserved. With just this battle, the mountain and sea sect's reputation would definitely sweep through the entire heavenly palace, suppressing all the heroes. At this moment, the Grand Masters were feeling a little regretful. This was a free-point question. They had hesitated earlier on. If they had been more decisive and won this battle, their sects would have welcomed a new spring. At this moment, no one would care about what Tang Wei was thinking. Under such a powerful move, she would definitely turn into dust. It would not be difficult for Wenlu to win. Tang Wei's beautiful eyes stared at the menacing sword aura as she pushed her right leg backwards. Bang! The ground was immediately split apart by the high heels under Tang Wei's feet, and her right fist slowly tightened as she placed it on her waist. A black aura slowly emitted out and condensed on Tang Wei's fist. At this moment, Tang Wei's eyes were pitch black, without any emotion. As Tang Wei condensed her power, the ground beneath her feet gradually collapsed, and the black light on her body became more and more intense, like a black flame. It was unimaginable. Tang Wei's actions caused the smiles of the gods to freeze on their faces. What was going on? In that instant, Tang Wei's right foot stomped down once again. Boom! Boom! The area within a circumference of 100 miles seemed as if there was a magnitude 9 earthquake, and the ground shook intensely. The ground seemed as if it was split open by the hands of a giant, and cracks appeared on the ground. And from Yi Hua's perspective, those cracks extended all the way to the horizon. The imperial city immediately activated its defensive state, otherwise, it would be destroyed by this kick. This was Tang Wei's true strength. It could be said. This was the first time in history that she had gone all out to fight. After all, Earth was their home. Even if they were to fight, they would try their best to suppress their strength. Not only Tang Wei, everyone was the same. But it was different here. They could fight with all their might. All the gods were dumbfounded. A single stomp could actually produce such a powerful destructive force. Was this still a woman? This was simply a humanoid monster, the king of destruction. Compared to Wen Lu's heart-destroying sword, Tang Wei's kick was even more shocking. As is Ji Zun, even Hong Tai was shocked. This woman actually possessed such a powerful strength, and he actually couldn't tell. This was clearly half a step into the realm of Ji Zun. Hong Tai raised his head and looked at the dozen or so people on top of the Inferno Abyssal Dragon. Emperor Zhu Qingxuan's mind went blank. He originally thought that a woman was nothing much. When Lu was the sect master of the Mountain and Sea sect, with him here, it would definitely be foolproof. But, however, Tang Wei's kick had completely destroyed the confidence of the gods. Yi Hua was very satisfied with Tang Wei's actions. This kick was good. Not only was it shocking, it was also stepping on the faces of these gods, letting them know that you, Tang Wei, are not to be trifled with. Wei Chang looked at his woman with admiration in his eyes. As expected of the woman that he had taken a fancy to, this aura was similar to his demeanor back then. However, when Tang Wei stepped on it, the high heels under her feet did not break in the slightest. It was truly miraculous. Following Tang Wei's stomp, her right fist suddenly struck out. Primordious collapse. It could be said that the kick just now was to pave the way for this punch, the so-called borrowing force, to unleash an even more powerful force. When this punch was thrown out, it created a huge sonic boom. A black evil aura coiled around Tang Wei's fist, like a black sun. The boundless spiritual energy swept out like a storm. The originally crimson-red sky instantly darkened. The astral wind whistled, causing pain to his face. Boom! The two forces immediately collided, and a loud sound resounded through the clouds like a furious roar. Mountains collapsed one after another, and a resplendent light shot up into the sky, scattering the black clouds. A ferocious shockwave spread out in all directions. When it touched the barrier of the imperial city, the entire barrier trembled, as if it was about to collapse. Chapter 420. All of the deities maintained a dumbfounded look on their faces. Some of their mouths were slightly opened, and some of their mouths could even be stuffed with a ham sausage. This kind of reaction was just like discovering that the other party was a man after an orgasm. Unbelievable. This woman is so terrifying. She actually survived under sect leader Wen's attack. This is simply a miracle. However, many people noticed that something was amiss. Sect leader Wen's ancient godly equipment disappeared. On the field, Wen Lu's expression was very unusual, and Tang Wei was standing there gracefully, as if she wasn't the one who attacked sect leader Wen. Impossible. This is impossible. Wen Lu murmured. The scene just now replayed in his mind, the other party's fist was directly coming towards him. No. Accurately speaking, it was coming towards the tip of his sword. At that time, he was still overjoyed in his heart. The woman who overestimated herself actually used her fist to attack my ancient godly equipment. However, what happened next made him astonished. Before that little embroidered fist even touched his sword, his pear blossom sword started to tremble violently and started to dissipate from the tip of the sword. Then, the entire sword turned into powder. An ancient godly equipment actually turned into powder under a fist, unless it was an overlord. Otherwise, how could an overlord destroy an ancient godly equipment with just his physical body? Wen Lu slowly raised his head and asked in a low voice, "Just who are you? If I don't ask this question, I won't be able to die in peace." Tang Wei said faintly, "I am just an ordinary university student. Of course I am still His Honor's subordinate. Oh no, subordinate's wife." Hearing this answer, Wen Lu opened his eyes wide and slowly raised his head to look at the man who was sitting on the chair. Subordinate already has this kind of strength, then what kind of strength does this subordinate have, and what kind of strength does he himself have? This is a group of demons, Wen Lu suddenly laughed. The evils we bring upon ourselves are the hardest to bear. A light breeze blew past, and Wen Lu dissipated along with his deep laughter, turning into dust. Not even his primordial spirit was left behind. It could be seen just how terrifying this punch was. This scene caused the deities to be unable to believe it, and they didn't dare to believe it. This is the Mountain Sea sect leader, one of the top 10 experts of Heaven's Mansion, and he actually couldn't even take a single punch from the other party. This is definitely impossible. The word impossible reverberated in everyone's hearts. Just a moment ago, they had been preparing to celebrate, but now they were dumbstruck, their hearts filled with fear. It was like a child fighting an adult. Everyone thought that the adult would win, but they didn't expect the child to knock down the adult. Moreover, it was a knockdown without any strength. Tang Wei, who had completed her mission, returned to the dragon's tail, then bowed slightly and said respectfully, "Your Honor." Yihua nodded his head and said faintly, "Not bad. It's my duty." Tang Wei appeared to be very modest. However, such modesty gave off a different feeling in the eyes of these gods. Such a powerful woman was actually so respectful to that man. It was surprising and frightening. Yihua waved his hand, signaling Tang Wei to return to the team. Meanwhile, Tang Wei bowed her body and retreated to the back of the team. At that moment, all the gods realized that the woman seemed to be standing at the back of the group. Then what the hell was that standing in front of him? Those sect leaders immediately changed their minds. This wasn't a freebie question, it was a freebie question. It is fortunate that I didn't go to the battle just now, if not, the one who died would be me. Your Honor, what should we do now? Zhu Qingxian asked gravely. Even the sect leader couldn't win against this woman. Hong Tai's expression sunk. I have underestimated their strength. Just where did these people come from? Hong Yi and Hong Xing, who were behind Yihua, didn't dare to speak anymore and instantly became obedient. Tang Wei's move just now had scared the two of them silly. As the sons of Supreme Being, their cultivation speed was indeed very fast. What other people could reach in 10,000 years, they could reach in 1,000 years. Furthermore, their strength was not much different from Yihua's. Thinking about how they went to request for battle just now, if Father had allowed it, the one who would have disappeared would be me. Father is still the one who is the most considerate. Hong Tai let out a sigh of relief. Right now, in this situation, anyone who goes up to fight would only be sending themselves to death. Emperor, you can be at ease. Since I said that I will protect you, I will naturally protect you. After finished speaking, Hong Tai flew out of the barrier. To him, a barrier like this was nothing. Looking at the appearance of this supreme being, Yihua sneered in his heart. He couldn't sit still anymore. Supreme Being, how about we spar for a bit? Standing in the sky, Hong Tai asked. Ever since I became an Supreme Being, this was the second time I felt so useless. The first time was 5 years ago, when I was fighting against those beasts. Without waiting for Yi Hua to say anything, Dong Huangli made a face at Hong Tai. You are so weak, my daddy won't spar with you. I, a dignified Supreme Being, was actually called a weak chicken by a child. However, looking at the 3 inferno abyssal dragons that were hugging each other, Hong Tai held back his anger. Until now, the one that Hong Tai was afraid of was the 3 inferno abyssal dragons, and not the 10+ people. What an idiot. Yi Hua looked at the familiar face and said, children usually speak the truth. If you want to spar with me, you are indeed not strong enough. Although what Yi Hua said was very light, everyone heard it. Yi Hua said it intentionally for everyone to hear. The other party's Supreme Being was actually disdainful, and his tone even carried a deep sense of ridicule. Everyone's heart fell into the air. Just what exactly is going to happen next? You don't think that just because you have the Supreme Treaty, I won't dare to do anything to you. Evidently, Hong Tai was quite angered by Yi Hua. So, Hong Tai wanted to use this treaty to protect himself, and now, he is saying that Yi Hua is relying on the treaty. He is truly shameless. Yi Hua laughed lightly, then slowly stood up. Supreme Treaty. Even I don't remember how many Supreme Beings I have killed. You have killed a lot of Supreme Beings? Hong Tai's expression suddenly changed as he questioned coldly. Yi Hua felt that this show was about to end, and he wasn't interested in watching anymore. Right now, I should give them their final despair, and this Supreme Being will also know who I am. That's right, a lot. Yi Hua took out a cigarette and lit it up, then looked at Hong Tai with narrowed eyes. I really like this expression of Hong Tai's. Hong Tai suddenly laughed out. Do you think that you can scare me? Do you really think that Supreme Beings can be scared? As Hong Tai spoke, the Supreme Being's might that was being emitted out from Hong Tai's body. In a battle between experts, aura was very important, especially for Supreme Beings. The one with the strongest aura would definitely win. Meanwhile, the deities below only saw the conversation between the two, and didn't hear the content of the conversation. Chapter 421. However, this action once again gave the deities hope. When an overlord makes his move, it is no joke, he will be able to kill all of you in an instant. A few minutes ago, they thought so too, and right now, they started to fantasize about winning. However, if they lose, they would not even have the strength to resist. Yi Hua said indifferently, do you really not recognize us anymore? Hong Tai's gaze became serious as he sized up everyone. Other than that little lowly with a ponytail, he really did not have any impression of the others. Of course, Hong Tai did not have any impression of them. In the past, Yi Zizi also looked like this, and the others all appeared with their original bodies. Just who are you all? Hong Tai asked gravely and put on a defensive posture. Yi Hua felt that he had to give some hints. If not, with the other party's intelligence, it would be very hard for him to guess. A ray of red light could be seen flashing past Yi Hua's eyes. Although it was just a flash, Hong Tai still saw it. I will never forget that pair of red light until now. Over 100 overlords gathered on that day. And it was all for the sake of encircling and annihilating 8 people. The situation on that day was incomparably tragic. Tens of overlords fell one after another, and only then did the overlords exterminate all of the overlords. And the boss of the overlords, that skeleton. That pair of empty eye sockets was also shining with the same kind of red light. Hong Tai's lips began to tremble as he pointed at Yi Hua and said in panic, You didn't die. Hee, do you think that I am so easy to kill? Yi Hua sneered. Upon thinking about the situation on that day, an overflowing anger emerged. The heavens seemed to have felt Yi Hua's anger, and immediately, a rumbling sound rang out, and thunder sounded out from the clear sky. No wonder I felt a sense of familiarity when I looked at that little girl. So it was her. They actually dared to not die. After paying such a painful price, in the end, everything became bubbles. Hong Tai seemed to be about to collapse. And this time, he felt that their strength had risen again. In the past, they were able to fight against a group of outstanding heroes with the strength of 8 people, and right now, they were only able to fight against a single person. Hong Tai no longer cared about his face. He turned around and shouted at his 2 sons, "Run!" However, there was no trace of his sons on the city wall. Father, Lai Gu and Wen Xia could be seen grabbing onto one person each. Lai Gu had become smarter now. Knowing that, he knew that his honor would be able to praise him. "Well done," Yihua said faintly, then lightly stroked onto his daughter's head. Dong Huangli yawned and gradually fell asleep. Although Yihua wanted to educate his daughter, there were some things that she could not come into contact with yet. After all, his daughter was still young right now, and there were some dark things that she would have to experience by herself in the future. "Yutong, carry off Li," Yihua said faintly. Qing Yutong carried Dong Huangli into her embrace and felt that she was digging out her brother-in-law's secrets. The deities below were all dumbfounded. Just a moment ago, the Supreme Being was about to display his might. Why did the situation suddenly change? He became so panic-stricken, to the extent where he couldn't help but scream out. How could a Supreme Being be in this state? Moreover, even the child of a supreme martial artist was captured. All the gods realized the fact that they had no hope at all. All that was left was deep despair. "Release my son." Hong Tai had a panicked look on his face as he roared towards Yihua. The demeanor of an overlord was thrown to the back of his head. Yihua took a puff of the cigarette, then said faintly, "In order to save your 2 sons, what are you willing to pay?" "Anything is fine," Hong Tai hurriedly shouted. When Hong Yi and Hong Xing heard their father's reply, tears streamed down their cheeks. "Father will still save us, let's use our lives to exchange for them then," Yihua said faintly. I wonder how an overlord views familial love. In Yihua's eyes, supreme beings were a group of sanctimonious people. For the sake of benefits, they were willing to give up everything. Their lives were eternal, and to them, having a child was just a process of cultivation. However, among humans, Yihua had seen some news before. For the sake of their children, they were willing to give up everything. There was a mother who actually lifted a small car and rescued her child. This made Yihua very surprised. This is the power of a mother. Looking at their father's struggling expression, Hong Yi and Hong Xing's hearts sunk. Big Brother Green suddenly said in a low voice, "If it was me, I wouldn't save them. I would go back and hug my wife twice tonight, hug 2 children next year, and then have another 2 children 18 years later. That's right, that's right. If they die, their wife would become someone else's wife, and their child would recognize someone else as his father. That would be so miserable." Little Brother Red said in a low voice. "This isn't a good deal, I hate being cuckolded the most." Big Brother Red sighed. It was evident that the 2 of them were performing a double act to disrupt Hong Tai's train of thought. Wrong. They are trying to make Hong Tai's train of thought flow smoothly. Your life is endless, if you die like this, it wouldn't be worth it. Although Zi Shan knew that Yi Hong said that intentionally, Zi Shan still glared at the man. "Why don't you give birth to a child with me?" Feeling Zi Shan's gaze, Yi Hong immediately turned his face away and pretended that he didn't see anything. "I really envy Big Brother, it is so good to be single." Hong Yi and Hong Xing inwardly scolded the 2 of them for being shameless. "Father, don't listen to their nonsense. Save me!" Hong Yi cried out loudly. As long as my father doesn't abandon me, I am willing to do anything. Hong Xing was choking with sobs. Father, your son will repay you properly in the future. Lai Gu pursed his lips. Who are you two going to repay? Stepfather. The two brothers were on the verge of collapse. Hong Tai was also thinking in his heart. That's right, if I die, who are you two going to repay? Looking at their father struggling more and more, the two brothers were about to go crazy. This bunch of shameless people. Yihua didn't stop them and looked at Hong Tai, who had a gloomy face. Then, can I leave? After a long while, Hong Tai let out a breath and asked gravely. In actuality, what they said was right. My life is endless. At worst, I can just give birth again in the future. If I were to die now, then I would really have nothing left. My wife slept with someone else, and my child recognized someone else as his father. I am unwilling to accept this. Hearing what their father said, Hong Yi and Hong Xing's faces turned pale. When their lives were in danger, their father still abandoned them. The two brothers had nothing left to love, and right now, the person they missed the most was their mother. When Hong Tai's subordinates heard Hong Tai's reply, they all let out a deep sigh. However, Hong Tai's choice must be respected. In the eyes of an overlord, if one doesn't look out for oneself, the heavens will destroy them. Of course you won't be able to leave. Yihua immediately dispelled Hong Tai's thoughts of running away. If you were to run away and leak out the news, those overlords would have two choices. First, surround and annihilate them again, just like back then. Second, hide them. Yihua felt that the possibility of the second choice was higher. If you are to hide, who am I going to take revenge on? As for the first choice, that would be too easy for you all to die. Furthermore, from now on, your lives are already starting to enter the countdown. Don't doubt my words, I never speak lies. Hong Tai took a look at his sons, then decided to run away without any hesitation. I must definitely inform everyone about this matter. Chapter 422. If I want to escape, you are powerless. Yihua sneered. There aren't many people who are able to escape from me, other than those two foolish women. He grabbed at the void and forcefully pulled Hong Tai out of the torn space. The gods below were all dumbfounded. Jizun actually abandoned them and ran away. Wasn't heaven's sanctum under the protection of Jizun? How could you run away just like that? What about us? As the emperor, Zhu Qingxian powerlessly supported himself on top of the city wall and muttered, when the blood-red light appears, the country will face a calamity. The Taoist master heaved a deep sigh of relief and supported His Majesty. Your Majesty, if you admit your mistake, you might still have a chance. Heavenly Master, if I had listened to you back then and paid attention to this problem, this wouldn't have happened. Zhu Qingxian felt regret and despair. If he had taken Ho Shuilin seriously on the night of his clan's annihilation, and then announced the ban, his son would not have gone down. Everything that happened next wouldn't have been his fault. Your Majesty, right now, there is still a sliver of a chance to redeem the situation. Although Taoist sure felt that there was no hope, but at the very least, if he were to beg for it, there might still be a chance to turn things around. But Zhu Qingxian was the emperor. The emperor of heaven's sanctum. Even if I have to die, I will die standing, not kneel to live. Zhu Qingxian suddenly stood up straight, as if he had returned to his previous state. Although the celestial master felt sorry for the emperor's choice, he praised the emperor's attitude. The imperial family should have the dignity of the imperial family. Even if they were to be destroyed, they should not lower their heads. You devil! Let me go! Hong Tai, who was firmly confined by Yihua, struggled madly. However, even if Hong Tai had the strength of an overlord, in Yihua's hands, he was just like an ordinary person. Yihua said coldly, "Didn't anyone teach you before? If you do something wrong, you have to pay the price." Without waiting for Hong Tai to roar out, Yihua clenched his fist. As a supreme being, Hong Tai exploded into a bloody mist in midair, and even his primordial spirit exploded along with it. Everyone saw this scene. Even the supreme martial artist had fallen, so there was really no one who could stop them. All the gods knelt on the ground and prayed to the heavens for mercy, hoping for a miracle. However, just like what Yihua had said, a miracle was impossible. The appearance of Yihua's main body only represented despair. If he was weak, perhaps he would be the one kneeling, but that was absolutely impossible. Yihua coldly looked at the group of gods who were kneeling on the ground and shouted out gravely, "I will say it again. You can't afford to offend my woman even if you die." Upon thinking about the situation that happened that day, Yihua immediately became furious. If I was an ordinary person, Qingye and Baizhi would have been captured by them and would have been living a life worse than death. Fortunately, I am not an ordinary person. He did not let such a tragedy happen. Furthermore, Yihua wasn't like Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi. Yihua would never be soft-hearted. He slowly turned around and said to his subordinates, "Leave no one alive." "Yes." Everyone answered in unison. Yihua took over his daughter and carried her in his embrace, then left with his sister-in-law. After his honor left, everyone felt that their bodies had become relaxed. Yizizi was already a bit impatient and couldn't stop licking her lips. Wei Chang was also a bit greedy, while Lai Gu's hands were a bit itchy. Right now, Absolute Heaven was only interested in money, the more the better. His honors plan requires a lot of money, you all know that. Absolute Heaven said faintly. Lai Gu said with a smile, "Who is snatching money from you? Just take however much you want." "That's right, I am only interested in people." Yizizi let out a soothed sound. Wei Chang laughed lightly, "All right, for his honors plan, all of the money will be handed over to Absolute Heaven, we will do the dirty work." Yizizi let out a strange laugh, "I like dirty work." Wei Chang turned his head around and looked towards the huge imperial city, then said with an ice-cold gaze, "Let's start working." The 10+ people flew towards the imperial city, and the 3 inferno nether dragons separated from each other, and the scarlet-red dragon scales started burning with scarlet flames once again. Zhu Qingxian looked at the enemies that were far away, and there wasn't any unnecessary expression on his face as he stood straight. This was the final dignity of an emperor. Sky Teacher did not cower and continued to uphold his duty. Che Hongliang took a deep breath, then shouted out loudly, "Protect His Majesty. Protect the imperial city. Protect Heaven's mansion." The gaze of the millions of soldiers gradually became firm, and the army let out a long shout. Heaven's mansion's soldiers can only die while standing. There is no need to kneel while living. After returning back to Leisure Bar, Yihua woke up his daughter. Dong Wangli was curious as to why she fell asleep, and she had an unhappy look on her face. "Yutong, let's go out to eat spicy hot pot tonight." Yihua carried his daughter and looked at Conan. Qing Yutong could be seen wearing an apron and holding onto a rag, cleaning up the place. In order to continue living here, she didn't even mind becoming a servant. "I don't have money." Qing Yutong pouted her mouth. "Is there any brother-in-law like you? You are almost squeezing sister-in-law dry." Dong Wangli smiled happily, "Daddy, are we really going to eat spicy hot pot?" Ali hasn't eaten spicy hot pot for a long time already. Chapter 423. After hearing that, Yihua and Qing Yutong felt confused and shocked at the same time. Qing Yutong felt that her brother-in-law was already weird enough to open a bar in this kind of place. I wonder how he survived in the past. I didn't expect that there would be someone who would open a bar in this kind of place. Could it be because the rent here is cheap? That is indeed the case. However, this is clearly going against brother-in-law, trying to steal business. It seems like I won't be able to steal any business. For a bar that doesn't have any customers, stealing business is impossible. Yihua felt that it was time to send his sister-in-law up, Yutong, advertise the bar in a few days. Qin Yutong was about to kneel down to her brother-in-law. Not only does brother-in-law want to squeeze his sister-in-law dry, he also wants to squeeze her body dry. Brother-in-law, I have already become like this, who would still recognize me? Qin Yutong pinched her own face and said. Because Yihua had been looking at her every day, he didn't feel that his sister-in-law had changed at all. Qin Yutong asked towards the renovation master, Master, do you recognize me? The master looked at Qin Yutong, and his heart started beating a bit. She is truly beautiful, miss. I am a man with a family, please do not harass me. Qin Yutong, Yihua actually laughed, and Dong Huangli laughed until she cried. This sentence was too heart-wrenching, and Qin Yutong felt that it was already a miracle for this man to be able to find a wife. Dong Huangli held on to her brother-in-law's arm. I knew it, no one would recognize me now. Daddy, carry. Yihua carried his daughter into his embrace and said faintly, let's take a look first. The three walked towards the outside of the alley. Isn't it just a bar at the side? What's so great about it? I, the Supreme Overlord, accept your challenge. Yihua had once brought his wife here to eat konjac spicy pot, but unfortunately now, his wife was gone. Spicy pot was just a pot of random stew, and it was mainly spicy. A lot of youngsters like to eat spicy pot, after all, it was cheap and tasty. Daddy, Ollie wants to eat chicken wings, beef meatballs, crab chops, fish balls, and... Brother-in-law, I want to eat beef, streaky pork, tiger skin, bacon, sausage, pork tenderloin, meat and bone. These two carnivores, Yihua said, also give me some potatoes, lettuce, cucumber, lettuce, cabbage, fried tofu, chives, cabbage. Hello, sir, that's 198 yuan. Yihua took out his phone and took a look at the change. Is there a discount? It's a small business, 188 RMB will do. The lady boss also saw that Yihua was handsome, if not, she wouldn't pay a single cent less. The remaining 10 yuan were 10 yuan. After finding a table and sitting down, Qin Yutong took out her phone and played with it. Yihua held onto his daughter's hand and silently waited for the dishes to be served. Daddy, Li is going to have her 3rd birthday soon. Dong Huangli suddenly said. Yihua paused for a moment. I have never celebrated my birthday before, and I have forgotten that there is such a thing. Thinking about the time when I had sex with Dong Huang Baiji, and after that, I was pregnant for 10 months. It should be around October, right? Yihua carried his daughter and said, whatever Ollie wants, Daddy will satisfy you. Qin Yutong placed down her phone. This little brat is becoming more and more cunning. I want Daddy and Mommy to be together. Dong Huangli's tone contained traces of sadness and desolation. Dong Huangli played the role of an innocent child to the fullest. In the past, Yihua was also the best male lead, and Dong Huangli was Yihua's daughter. Dong Huangli possessed a powerful genetic inheritance, and she was more than enough to be a small acting actress. Hearing his daughter's wish, Yihua felt very helpless. I am able to give Li whatever she wants, but this is the only thing that I am unable to do. How can I, the Supreme Overlord, lower my head to those two foolish women? Daddy, Dong Huangli raised her head, her big eyes were watery, and she looked extremely pitiful. After finished speaking, Dong Huangli intimately rubbed against her father's chin. Qin Yutong said from the side, Brother-in-law, you weren't present for Li's last 2 birthdays, you should at least satisfy Li's wish this time, right? What this sister-in-law said makes sense. As a father, I have already missed my child's birthday twice, and this year can be counted as the first time. Can't you even satisfy a child's wish? However, I will not go and pick them up. Ollie, I will leave this matter to you. However, Daddy will not go and pick up Mommy. Yi Hua said gravely. Hearing that, Dong Huangli pouted. However, I will first arrange for Daddy and Mommy to meet. Perhaps, when they meet, their emotions will explode, and they will be able to give birth to a younger brother. Thinking up to here, Dong Huangli happily agreed. At this time, the dishes were served. Although the dishes were only medium spicy, Dong Huangli and Qin Yutong's faces still turned red from the spiciness. While eating, Wei Chang also sent a message over to Yi Hua. Wei Chang had already dealt with everything, and not a single person was left alive. Meanwhile, all of the money and items were taken care of by Zhu Tian. Yi Hua expressed that he understood. Seems like Zhu Tian still wants to use that move to lure the snake out of its hole. Then, I will let him use it and see if it is effective or not. The two beauties, one big and one small, were more or less finished, and Dong Huangli's stomach was already bulging up. It is a child's nature to sleep after eating. Yi Hua carried his daughter and brought his sister-in-law home. In the eyes of others, this was the rhythm of a family of three. However, when they arrived at the entrance of Leisure Bar, a Bentley appeared at the entrance. Foreign car plate. The chauffeur immediately got off the car and opened the door. However, before the chauffeur opened the door, the back seat's door was already opened. A man and a woman could be seen getting off the car. Yi Hua recognized this man. He is Wang Debao, the man who lost to him while gambling. Wang Debao returned the money the next day. This woman's appearance is not bad, right? If I didn't guess wrongly, she should be Bai Cixin. Young Master Yi. Wang Debao and his wife Bai Cixin slowly walked over and shouted out respectfully. Yi Hua wrinkled his brows and said, "Call him boss, but this young Master Yi sounds uncomfortable." "Alright, boss." Yi Hua nodded his head, then walked towards Leisure Bar. Soon after, Yi Hua sat in the lounge and let Qin Yutong carry his daughter to the lounge to rest. After being chased out of the north by Voidless Realm, they were not welcomed in the south, and could be counted as a street rat. Yi Hua took out a stick of cigarette and said faintly, "Don't stand, sit." With a sincere smile on his face, Wang Debao sat down together with his wife Bai Cixin. If those deities were to see this, they would definitely cry out injustice. Why are they able to sit together with you and negotiate while we can't? Because Yi Hua felt that Wang Debao was an honest person, unlike Xiao Yi who would only submit to him because he was afraid of him. His first impression of Wang Debao was pretty good. Yi Hua's impression of the deities had never been very good. Yi Hua's impression of the deities was even worse than that of these ordinary humans. Even the auntie who was selling Chinese crepes at the entrance of the alley looked much more comfortable than the deities. Chapter 424. Speak, what did you come here for? Yi Hua asked. In actuality, there was no need to ask to know what they were trying to say. They wanted to hug onto Yi Hua's thigh. Wang Debao took out a card and placed it on the table. "Boss, this is a small gift for our first meeting. Please accept it." Looking at the bank card on the table, Yi Hua somehow felt that the other party was here to flaunt his wealth. "It's not that I don't have money. I am enjoying life, do you understand? You bunch of mortals, how can you understand my intentions? To actually use this kind of dirty money to bribe me. Do you really think that I am the kind of person who would be blinded by money? Take it away, I don't need it." Yi Hua's expression turned cold. The couple looked at each other. Wang Debao couldn't keep the card. Qin Yutong hid on the stairs and peeked at Yi Hua. "Brother-in-law, just what kind of situation is this? Don't act cool anymore, at least bring us to eat a sumptuous meal. It has been a long time since we last ate seafood. I miss lobsters. I feel hungry again." Bai Cixin actually took out 2 Furong Kings and said with a smile, "Boss, I know you like to smoke this, so I bought 2. Put it here," he said. The fact that the man in front of her could accept her meant that it was a good thing. At the very least, he didn't have any evil intentions. "Boss, my wife and I don't have any intention of coming here today. We're just here to pay you a visit." Bai Zixin seemed to have become steadier and more cautious after going through this ordeal. "Just a visit. Get close to him. Then, your goal has already been achieved," Yi Hua said faintly. "Didn't you say that you are here to pay a visit? Shouldn't it be time for me to leave?" Bai Zixin nodded and said with a smile, "Boss, there have been more foreigners in the south recently. The bar next to yours is also opened by a foreigner." After he finished speaking, Wang Debao and Bai Zixin obediently left the leisure bar. Yi Hua silently smoked his cigarette. Foreigner. According to Wei Chang, there were indeed a lot more foreigners recently. Whatever. They are all people who want to take advantage of me. When the time comes, I will just have to do a big purge. A week passed quickly, and everything was on track. Wei Chang and Tang Wei continued to work in leisure bar. Of course, there were also Green and Red brothers. It was just that it was hard for them to guard an empty bar. It was worth noting that Absolute Heaven had bought the Shao Mansion. After all, that place was indeed not bad. It was very suitable to be chosen as the headquarters of an aristocratic family. Moreover, it was a ready-made place. If the reconstruction would take a very long time, Yi Hua's order was to finish it as soon as possible. He bought the Shao residence and changed it into the Dongfang residence. Then, he began to prepare to rope them in. The Dongfang family should be as popular as they were in the past. Otherwise, why would the other aristocratic families be jealous? If he wasn't jealous, how could he frame him? Everything was going according to Absolute Heaven's plan, without the slightest deviation. Dong Huangli was also sent back to Voidless Realm. Recently, Yi Hua had been a bit restless. His daughter's birthday was getting closer and closer, and this meant that the time for him to meet with Qingye and Baiji was getting closer and closer. "I'm a little nervous. These two foolish women are actually able to make me feel uneasy. Truly amazing. Brother-in-law, can you calm down for a bit? Zizi is still doing her homework," Qin Yutong said helplessly after walking out of the house. She was obviously excited to death, yet she still had an indifferent look on her face. Brother-in-law was really a man who cared about his reputation. Yi Hua lit up a cigarette and walked down the stairs. Only to see that the bar was deserted, the waiters were standing there and chatting. However, Yi Hua actually saw Zi Shan among the attendants. "This group of shameless people, they are all here to take my money. Believe it or not, I will make all of you break up." Yi Hua quietly stood at the side and listened to what they were chatting about. "Zi Shan, I didn't expect that your honor's bar would be so miserable. Yi Hua, ever since your honor had your wife, the bar's business dropped by 90%. Tang Wei sighed with emotion. "In the past, before your honor's wife appeared, the bar's business was too good." Big Brother Green said, "I heard that the 7 bar next to us will be opening for business tomorrow, and they even invited quite a few celebrities over to help out. There are even Hollywood celebrities among them." Yi Hong said in a low voice, "They might be able to drive our business along." "Do I even need others to drive my business along?" Cough. Seeing that his honors suddenly walked out of the bar, the 5 people immediately separated from each other and began wiping the spotless table. "There really isn't a single person here. Could it be that I have to sell my body in exchange for popularity?" While smoking, Yi Hua walked out of the bar, then turned his head around and looked at the 7 bar that was at the side. Yi Hua thought that the other party was a poor person, which was why he opened the bar here. Seems like the other party isn't a poor person, they came prepared. To actually want to show off their strength to me, good. I, the Supreme Overlord, will personally meet you all tomorrow and see just who exactly are you all. After walking out of the alley, Yi Hua went out to take a walk. However, he discovered that the 7 bars advertisements were everywhere on the street, and there was even a fleet of cars that were advertising all over the city. Shameless people, you think that you are amazing just because you have some stinky money. Don't wait for my wife to come back, she will slap your face every minute. Hee hee, voidless realm. Dong Huangli was bouncing back and forth between the buildings. Right now, everyone recognized Dong Huangli, and when they saw her, they all shouted out respectfully, "We pay our respects to your highness." Dong Huangli was also very polite. When she saw a man, she would call a man big brother, and when she saw a woman, she would call a woman big sister. Dong Huangli was simply too likable. I even forgot about the bad things that the little fellow did. Your Highness, the Empress asked you to go back to eat. A maid suddenly landed beside Dong Huangli. After rubbing onto her stomach, Dong Huangli burped, then muttered, "It's time to eat again. It is still better to eat at Daddy's place, I can lose weight." Qingye and Dong Huangbaiji could be seen sitting at the table, chatting while waiting for the child to return. Mommy Qing. Right now, Dong Huangli was no longer afraid, because her mother was no longer scolding her anymore. Dong Huangbaiji picked up her handkerchief and wiped off the sweat on her daughter's forehead. "Where did you run off to this time? Your forehead is filled with sweat." "Ollie, of course I have to walk around, I have already become fat." Dong Huangli pinched onto her chubby little face, feeling very depressed. Mommy's place is filled with delicacies, while Daddy's place is filled with vegetables and carrots. Qingye said with a smile, "I wonder who it is. When Daddy just came back, he looked as if he didn't eat anything for a few days. Daddy is so pitiful, he is always very frugal and only eats vegetables and carrots. Furthermore, the restaurant's business is not doing well, and there is even a bar that opened beside the restaurant to compete with the restaurant. Daddy is about to go bankrupt, and when the time comes, Ollie will have to go and eat dirt together with Daddy." Dong Huangli looked at the 2 adults and said pitifully, "Turning her father into a man who is about to go bankrupt." Qingye and Dong Huangbaiji went into a daze for a moment. Did this Yihua live such a miserable life? Qingye thought about it and agreed. Back then, when I met him, I was still using Wei Chang's salary. From this, it can be seen how poor he is. Chapter 425. After the 2 women heard what Yihua said, they were speechless. With Yihua's temperament, even if the sky were to collapse, he would still want to act cool. How could he possibly go and jump into a river? Even if he jumped, he wouldn't die from jumping. He was not worried at all. Seeing that Dong Huangli's mommy is actually not nervous at all, it seems like Daddy's death is not a threat to them at all. "Mommy," Dong Huangli shouted out with her mushy voice. Hearing her daughter's tone, Dong Huangbaiji immediately knew what was going to happen. Dong Huangbaiji asked, "What happened?" "Mommy, you actually asked me what's wrong. You don't even love Ollie. It was normal that Papa didn't know his birthday, but Mama didn't even remember it. The baby was unhappy. Come and coax him." Qingye took a look at Dong Huangbaiji. "What happened to Ollie?" He was inexplicably angry. Dong Huangbaiji suddenly thought of it and said with a smile, "Mommy, you're wrong. I forgot that Ollie's birthday is coming up soon." Dong Huangli puffed out her cheeks and remained silent. "Alright, what does Ollie want this year? Mama will satisfy you, okay? Is that true?" Dong Huangli asked while blinking her big eyes. Dong Huangbaiji nodded her head with certainty. However, Dong Huangli looked towards Qingye. "Alright, Mommy Qing will agree to Ollie's request." Qingye smiled dotingly. Dong Huangli was very happy, but she still said faintly, "I want Daddy and Mommy to be together." Sigh, Ollie is so sensible. If Yihua was half as sensible as Ollie, how could I not return home? Towards Ollie's wish, Qingye and Dong Huangbaiji did not know how to reply. Ali knows that Papa and Mama have misunderstood each other, so you don't have to go to each other. Ali will arrange a place, and then we will go together, okay? After the two women heard what Yihua said, they felt that this was a good idea. Perhaps, this is a chance for us to reconcile. Now, it all depends on what Yihua says. As long as Yihua shows a bit of weakness to us, then we will forget about this matter, and we will continue living our lives. After all, continuing on like this isn't a solution. Ali wants a complete family, and not a single-parent family. Seeing that her mommy had agreed to her request, Dong Huangli was overjoyed. You have to cherish this opportunity and make up with each other. You can't quarrel anymore. If you quarrel, Li has to coax you. As a child, it's really hard. On the second night, the 7-bar that was beside Yihua opened for business. Yihua sat in his office and listened to the clamor outside of the bar and the rumbling sound of the supercar, and he was a bit unhappy. This was a blatant provocation. He stood up and walked to the window, only to see a sea of people. The young people waiting to enter were all lined up outside the alley. A few months ago, my leisure bar was also the same. I didn't expect that after a few months, my leisure bar would become so cold and cheerless. My leisure bar must have definitely been cursed by Qingye and Baiji. This kind of thought was good enough to pass through his mind. It obviously wouldn't work. If he was really hung up and whipped, there would really be no hope for him. With an unhappy mood, Yihua walked down the stairs. It was completely empty. Seeing that his honor had gone up and down the stairs, Wei Chang and the others felt a bit awkward, not knowing how to comfort his honor. After all, doing business was inevitable. Anyway, it was already like this. He just needed to get used to it in the future. What are you looking at? I don't have to work. Yihua shouted out coldly. These subordinates of mine are all brainless. A few days ago, I still wanted to say that they are smart, but right now, others are already doing things like this, and you all are just staying here. Don't you all know how to go out and do things? Don't you know how to smash the place? Do you even need me to teach you how to do things? Seeing that his honor flew into a rage, everyone turned their heads around and went back to work. They even had to wipe a cup for a few hours, sitting on the bar counter. The more Yihua thought about it, the more unhappy he became. They are already bullying me, I can't tolerate it. Little Green, come out with me. Yihua decided to bring one person along to smash the place. Why did he only bring one person? Because if there were more people, it would seem like he was going to bully others. Why did he bring Big Brother Green? Because he is the only one who is single. Why did he choose to be single? At the very least, within the entire team, Little Green is the only one who is single. Hearing that his honor called out to him, Big Brother Green immediately became alert. His honor is definitely going to help me find a wife, this is great. Right now, within the entire team, I am the only one who is single, this is very embarrassing. Look at my little brother, that beautiful wife, then look at me, that oily green head of mine. Yihua stood up and walked out of the leisure bar, and Big Brother Green followed behind him. Little Green. Do you know how to smash the place? Yihua took out a stick of cigarette and asked. Big Brother Green didn't dare to brag and said honestly, subordinate has always had this thought, but I have never tried it before. Do it tonight then. Yes. Smash the place, just thinking about it made Big Brother Green's scalp go numb from excitement. This isn't as simple as smashing the place, this is smashing the place together with his honor. What kind of glory is this? His honor truly thinks too highly of me, I must definitely perform well tonight. The two walked towards the 7-bar that was at the side, and at the entrance of the bar, there were quite a few beautiful young ladies with their thighs exposed to the air. Yihua couldn't help but take a look at them. I wasn't like this in the past, I must have definitely been bewitched by Qingye and Donghuang Baiji. Suddenly, one of the young ladies walked out from the group of young ladies. Yi Hua sneered. Yet another woman who was bewitched by me. It's a pity that I, the Supreme Overlord, am going to strictly reject you. A burst of fragrance drifted past. Yi Hua stopped his footsteps. I actually walked over. I, the Supreme Overlord, was actually ignored by a young lady. How is this possible? Are you alone? The questioning voice of a young lady rang out from behind. The corner of Yi Hua's mouth twitched slightly. Little Green was actually struck up by a young lady. Why is my underling so outstanding? In actuality, Big Brother Green had quite a personality. Right now, he was no longer that kind of afro hairstyle, he had learned from his honor and combed his hair back. Furthermore, with the green windbreaker, he looked a bit handsome, just like the villain clown. Girls still like this type of guy. With Yi Hua's cold face and his imposing aura, ordinary girls really didn't dare to get close to him. Looking at the young lady who was striking up a conversation with him, Big Brother Green did not have a happy look on his face. Instead, he was in a bad mood as he said gravely, "If I am not a human, what am I? Am I a pig?" After the young lady heard what Big Brother Green said, she went into a daze for a moment, then said with a smile, "Can I have your phone number?" Big Brother Green's expression immediately sunk as he said coldly, "Are you sick? My phone number is worth a few thousand. Can I give it to you?" This time, the young lady really went into a daze. So he wasn't joking, he was straight, "Sorry for disturbing you," the young lady said, then ran back to her group of sisters. After that, she shared what happened just now with her sisters. She dares to bet that if this green hair is able to find a girlfriend, she will go and eat shit. Yi Hua patted onto Big Brother Green's shoulder. "Don't pay attention to this kind of woman, she always asks for this and that, with just a look, I can tell that she isn't a good person." Chapter 426. In the bedroom on the second floor of Leisure Bar, there was a flash in the void. Two beautiful figures appeared. It was actually Qingye and Donghuang Baiji. If Yi Hua didn't leave the house and coincidentally met with the two women, his mood would definitely be very good. After all, the two wives took the initiative to look for him, and the two wives seemed to have the intention to let go of their relationship. However, it was a pity that Yi Hua had brought along Big Brother Green to smash the place. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji had pondered for a very long time before they decided to come over. For the sake of their children, they were willing to take a step back. This time, the reason why Donghuang Li came over was because he wanted to discuss with Yi Hua about Donghuang Li's birthday party. No matter what, Donghuang Li was the Little Highness of Voidless Realm, and her birthday party definitely had to be held in a grand manner. In actuality, this was only one aspect of it. The main reason was that he wanted to clear up those misunderstandings with Yi Hua. The two women looked at the neat and tidy bed. Yi Hua is actually not here, and it is already 10 p.m. Was he watching cartoons in the office again? Qingye and Donghuang Baiji pushed open the door and walked into the office. Yi Hua wasn't in his office either. Where did Yi Hua go? Donghuang Baiji asked curiously. Soon after, Qingye pushed open the door of her little sister's room, and Yi Zizi could be seen obediently doing her homework with a cheerful smile on her face. Seems like Yi Zizi's mood is pretty good, she isn't complaining anymore. Meanwhile, Qin Yutong was playing games as usual, a fujoshi. Yutong, where's your brother-in-law? Qingye asked. Qin Yutong took off her headphones and turned her head around to take a look. Yi Zizi was the same as well. Big sister, Baiji, you two have returned. Qin Yutong cried out in surprise, then gave her big sister a big hug. Then, he pointed at his sister's stomach. Damn, she's so big. She'll be giving birth in a few months. Qingye smiled tenderly, I will be giving birth around Chinese New Year. Yi Zizi put down her homework and ran over to Qingye's stomach. Sister-in-law, it's so big. Stroking onto Yi Zizi's head, Donghuang Baiji asked with a smile, are you obedient in school? Of course, I'm prepared to get first place. After the four of them asked about Qinya's well-being, Qinya once again asked, where did your brother-in-law go? Isn't brother-in-law in his office? Qin Yutong asked puzzledly. No, I just went to take a look. Qin Yutong thought for a bit, then said, recently, the business has not been good, and brother-in-law might be drinking to drown his sorrows downstairs. However, if he knows that you two have returned, he will definitely be extremely happy. Hearing that, Qingye and Donghuang Baiji smiled. Of course, he would be happy. Now that I'm back, I'm sure that he'll be preaching to me again. Soon after, the two women walked down the stairs, and discovered, Yi Hua was not in leisure bar. Lady boss! Wei Chang exclaimed. The two lady boss had actually returned. Qingye felt that it was very strange. Yi Hua was a deep otaku. If he could not go out, then he would definitely not go out. However, within the crowd, Qingye and Donghuang Baiji noticed Zishan. This made them recall those deities and the matter of Yi Hua appearing in Ji family back then. Today, I have to properly ask Yi Hua about this matter. In the future, I won't be able to hide this matter from my wives anymore. What about Yi Hua? Qingye asked. Boss. Wei Chang suddenly hesitated, because they had just been discussing this problem. Why did His Honor bring along Big Brother Green and not someone else? Afterward, Wei Chang came up with a hypothesis. Could it be that His Honor used the excuse of smashing the bar to relax his mood? After all, His Honor seemed to be very easily angered these few days, and he would frequently drink here and there. Right now, His Honor's wife suddenly came back. If His Honor were to find out that His Honor went to the bar at the side to look for excitement, what would happen? This is a happy event turning into a bad thing. This made Wei Chang stop talking. It would have been fine if Wei Chang didn't stop, but the moment Wei Chang stopped, Qingye and Donghuang Baiji immediately frowned. Could it be that Yi Hua went to look for the young miss? This kind of terrifying thought immediately emerged in the two women's minds, and their originally gentle expression immediately turned cold. I have already disregarded my former enmity and came over to show weakness, and yet, in the end, you went to look for the young miss, aren't you angry? We are simply about to explode from anger. Speak. Where did Yi Hua go? Donghuang Baiji asked coldly. Qingye's face was also sunken. For the two of them, who are such strong women, to be able to tolerate each other, that is already a miracle. If the two of them were to find out that Yi Hua had a woman outside, they would definitely go berserk. The boss went out for a walk. Wei Chang hurriedly explained, helping His Honor cover up. This was simply a blatant act of concealment. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji don't believe that Yi Hua would rather sit at home and watch the happy scene than go out for a walk. In the past, they would only be able to drag Yi Hua out for a walk after coaxing and pestering him. Qingye shouted out towards Tang Wei, Xiao Tang, you speak. Tang Wei didn't know what to say. Should I listen to Uncle Wei, or should I listen to your wife? Tang Wei's hesitation allowed Qingye and Donghuang Baiji to be sure that Yi Hua definitely went out to do something shameful. If not, why didn't these people say anything? Chapter 427. Little Green. Let's begin. Yi Hua said coldly. For the business here to be so good, all of the customers must definitely be hired. Big Brother Green did not dare to be careless. If he wanted to cause trouble, it would mean that he was going to cause trouble for no reason. Looking around, he saw that all of the booths were full, and there were still a lot of people who were still standing. This was his chance. Waiter. Get over here. If they wanted to smash the place, they had to have the momentum to do so. A foreign waiter walked over respectfully. What kind of service is this? Where are the seats? Don't tell me you want us to drink standing up. Big Brother Green questioned Yihua sternly. Yihua was very satisfied. This is the rhythm, I will slowly blow up the matter. The waiter paused and said, there is still an empty seat. Please follow me. Big Brother Green was speechless. Who are you trying to fool? Is there room for so many people? However, there was indeed a booth that wasn't occupied. This made Big Brother Green very speechless. His first act of showing off got stuck in his throat and was unable to come out. What would you like to drink? The waiter asked respectfully. Big Brother Green had another excuse, give me the best wine you have here. My boss wants to drink. Okay, wait a moment. Everything was going according to plan. After they drank it, they would say that it was fake, then they would ask for compensation and cause trouble. Yihua didn't speak. He discovered that there were a lot of unusual people at the scene, and these foreigners should have another identity. Soon, a bottle of 1982 Lafite was served. There were also professionals opening, decanting, and pouring the wine. Yihua and Big Brother Green picked up their wine glasses and drank a mouthful of wine. Puff! Big Brother Green directly spurted out his saliva. Yihua, on the other hand, wasn't so exaggerated as to spit out his saliva. F***ck me, what kind of alcohol is this? Even King 82 Coke is better than this. Big Brother Green shouted out angrily. Yihua leaned on the sofa and listened to what Big Brother Green said. The reason why I brought Big Brother Green out was because I wanted to relax a bit. The waiter paused for a moment, then smiled and said, I'll change it for you. Soon, another bottle of Chateau Lafite arrived, and he repeated what he had just done. Then, Big Brother Green spurted out again, you guys are scamming the consumers. Change again. Big Brother Green was speechless. He had never seen someone with such a good temper. Even after such a ruckus, he could still endure it. Another bottle. Big Brother Green changed its mode. Although it also sprayed out, it didn't need to change. I'm not drinking. This wine is too fake, pay up. The waiter asked doubtfully, how much? Big Brother Green took a look at his honor who didn't say anything, then said, 100 million. Okay, I'll go and ask my superiors. After saying that, he turned around and left. If Big Brother Green doesn't even have a reaction after all this, then he really has to give up. If you have such a good temper, then don't open a bar, because you will go bankrupt. However, Yihua didn't think so. It seems like the other party knew that I was coming. Hello, Boss Yi. A stiff Chinese voice suddenly sounded. Yihua and Big Brother Green looked over, and two Western women could be seen appearing in front of them. This is actually a pair of twins. They are exactly the same, no matter if it is their hairstyle, clothes, or figure, they are just like one person. She had a strong Western beauty, and her blonde hair was naturally hanging down to her waist. Her eyes were dark blue, and her skin was as white as paper. Yihua appeared to be very calm and collected. No matter how good-looking I am still not as beautiful as Qinya and Baiji. If I had to insist on having an advantage, then it would be the advantage of being twins. Moreover, it was a pair of vampire twins. Yihua was able to see through the two women's true bodies in an instant. Interesting. Big Brother Green looked at the pair of twins and almost drooled. Your Honor. Can I have them? Can I have some restrictions too? What distance? Time. You two know me? Yihua asked. Of course, I am ashamed to open a bar beside Boss Yi. My name is Serena, and this is my younger sister, Serena. We are Europe's sucking blood clan. Big Brother Green took in a mouthful of cold air. Vampire, your sister, just pretend that I didn't say anything, Your Honor, please don't be tricked. Yihua's interest was immediately piqued. Interesting, this is too unexpected. They actually admitted their identity. So you two are from the Sucking Blood clan, no wonder you two are so beautiful. Yihua said faintly. Serena smiled lightly. Thank you for your compliment, Boss Yi. Can we sit down? Of course. Yihua's interest was piqued. Serena could be seen sitting beside Yihua. Although they weren't very close to each other, they still gave off a kind of ambiguous feeling. Serena waved her hand towards the waiter, and the waiter bowed and left. Boss Yi, you wouldn't look down on us being from the Sucking Blood clan, right? Serena asked tenderly. Yihua was quite fond of different races, because he was also a different race. No, but why did you two suddenly appear here? Yihua asked curiously. Boss Yi, to tell you the truth, my younger sister and I are not only from the Sucking Blood clan, we are also exorcists. We wander around the world, and we heard that demons are running rampant in the south, so we wanted to come and help, that's all. Serena didn't hide anything. Why are you telling me the truth? Yihua asked. Serena said seriously, Boss Yi, we investigated you before coming here, please forgive us. Although we didn't find anything valuable, my older sister and I feel that you are a good person. Chapter 428. Hearing this familiar voice, Yihua became happy and slowly raised his head. They are still the same, they did not become uglier, it's just that, Qingya's belly has become much bigger, it must have been hard on her. However, what is with that look on their faces? They actually suspect that I am picking up girls. These two foolish women, if I really wanted to pick up girls, do you think that I would be discovered by the two of you? Why are you two here? Although I am very happy in my heart, I cannot show it, lest you two discover that I am very sad when I leave you two, or that I am very happy when I see you two return. Yihua's attitude made Qingya and Donghuang Baiji very unhappy. In any case, we haven't seen each other for more than a month, and now that we have met, you are still picking up girls, and you are even giving us an expression, as if we are disturbing you from picking up girls. Angry, very angry, let's go. Qingya and Donghuang Baiji turned around and left. This caused Yihua to go into a daze. What is the meaning of this? Leaving right after coming here. I haven't even taught you two a lesson yet. Furthermore, this is my territory, is it a place where you two can come and go as you please? Yihua stood up and followed after them. These are the two lady boss's wives. As expected, they are as beautiful as goddesses. Selena muttered, and envy could be seen in her eyes. Big Brother Green took a glare at the two sisters. You two have caused trouble. What should we do then? Selena asked anxiously. Big Brother Green has to think of a way for his honor. Yihua, who was following after them, snorted, stop right there. Qingya and Donghuang Baiji, who were in front of Yihua, didn't pay attention to Yihua at all and walked out of 7 bar. Yihua followed closely behind them. Looking at the two familiar back figures that were carrying traces of stubbornness, Yihua sighed in his heart. I can't even afford to offend these two women, let alone others. I have been in a cold war for more than a month, although I have been wanting to teach them a lesson, I have been missing them more and more. Now that they have come to find me, they definitely have the intention to lower their heads. Since that's the case, I have to give them a way out. Yihua could be seen walking forward with large strides, one on each hand, and hugging the two wives into his embrace. What a familiar feeling. The fragrance that their bodies are emitting is still the same, the softness is still the same. It has been more than a month, but it feels like a few years. Let go. Let me go. The two little wild cats struggled with all their might, and right at this moment, Yihua decided to use a big move that would definitely be able to destroy the weakest line of defense in the two little wild cats' hearts. Tonight, I have to properly relive the pleasure I had back then. Lai Gu has a good saying, when women are bored, they will make a fuss. Therefore, only by making them not feel bored will I be able to not feel bored. For example, sleeping until the afternoon. Then, how am I supposed to sleep until the afternoon? I have to stay up all night, but what am I supposed to stay up all night for? What else can I do? A man and a woman, could it be that they are going to stay up all night to play games? Yi Hua, wait a minute. Dong Huang Baiji suddenly shouted out tenderly. Hearing this voice, Yi Hua's chest trembled. Thinking back to that night 3 years ago, Dong Huang Baiji was still relatively young and inexperienced, and right now, she was just like a ripe peach, waiting for him to spoil. Yi Hua asked faintly, what's wrong? First, I played the good cop, and now, I played the bad cop, to let them know that I am the head of the family. Zi Shan, you are a deity, right? Dong Huang Baiji suddenly asked. Yi Hua was startled. How did Baiji know that Zi Shan is a deity? Back then, when Ho Xuelin's 3 subordinates brought the portrait of Zi Shan to look for Dong Huang Baiji, Yi Hua knew that Zi Shan was a deity. Zi Shan nodded her head, that's right. Yi Hua, sit down first, this is a very troublesome matter. Qingye was worried. Back then, after that crown prince ran away, he will definitely come back. At that time, there will definitely be more people coming. Yi Hua did not say anything and directly sat down. Zi Shan, the deity sent 2 groups of people over, and there is also a crown prince. Qingye's tone was filled with worry, completely unaware that Yi Hua had already exterminated the royal family. Zi Shan said in a low voice, Lady Boss, you can be at ease, I have already come to an agreement with the other side, and the misunderstanding has already been resolved. Fortunately, I met the boss, and it was him who pulled me out from the abyss of pain. Then, I met Yi Hong, I am very happy right now. Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji were a bit surprised, and they turned their heads around and looked towards Yi Hua. Yi Hua lit up a cigarette and nodded his head. Yi Hua, back then, were you at Ji family? Qingye asked curiously. Yi Hua puffed out a mouthful of smoke, that's right, I met Zi Shan at Ji family. Chapter 429. As for why, how can I just sit and do nothing when Ji family did such a thing that angered even the gods? They used such cruel methods to kill hundreds of family heads. If no one comes forward to give them an explanation, how can the souls of the deceased rest in peace? Yi Hua's acting skills had improved by another level. It was clearly you who arranged for Zhu Tian to let those people in, then used someone else to do the dirty work for you. After that, you even went over to kill those people with a strong sense of righteousness. Seeing that the 2 women were not speaking, Yi Hua said gravely, if the 2 of you feel that what I did was wrong, then leave. Those who walk different paths cannot make plans together. Hearing what Yi Hua said, the 2 women's hearts trembled. Their hearts are tied up by Yi Hua, it is impossible for them to leave. After saying what Yi Hua said, Yi Hua became rather nervous. This is a gamble, if I win the gamble, they won't say anything about what I do in the future. If I lose, it would be game over. Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji let out a deep sigh, then sat beside Yi Hua and held onto his hand, using their actions to show that they were standing on their husband's side. Seeing that your wife is so understanding of his honor, Wei Chang felt at ease. However, if Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji were to find out that Yi Hua was still lying to them, they would definitely explode. From a small lie at the start, to using even more lies to cover up that lie, gradually, it became a huge lie. I never lie, and even if I lie, it is a white lie. Boss. Lady Boss. You 2 misunderstood, they are my girlfriends. Big Brother Green could be seen pulling Serena and running into the shop. Big Brother Green's method was to let the 2 sisters pretend to be his girlfriends and dispel his wife's suspicions. This made Big Brother Green become even more ruthless. While pulling the two vampires, his entire body felt numb. Big Brother, why did you bring two vampires with you? Yi Hong was dumbstruck. I only left for half an hour, and this happened. They are even more awesome than me, and they are even two foreign ladies, they are exactly the same. Big Brother Green glared at his underling. What do you know? This is true love, lady boss, don't misunderstand. Yi Hua carried the two wives and went upstairs. Qingye turned her head around and said with a smile, there is no misunderstanding, you two can get along well. Big Brother Green was a bit stupefied. What is going on? Why is the lady boss so happy? Big Brother, the lady boss did not misunderstand anything. Yi Hong explained. No. Then what was the point of acting, holding the hands of two vampires? Big Brother Green hurriedly let go of Serena and Serena's hands. Thinking about that vampire's original form, his entire body felt goosebumps. The two sisters pursed their lips, feeling a little shy. They had never been held by a man in their lives, and their first time was given to the same man. Was this fate? Nice to meet you guys. Feel free to drop by whenever you have time. The two sisters said their goodbyes and hurriedly went back. Tang Wei watched as the two beautiful sisters ran away, then looked at Big Brother Green who had an uncomfortable expression on his face. LV Liang, your luck with women isn't bad Sister-in-law, don't tease me anymore, those two are vampires, they are just like mosquitoes that suck human blood. Upon thinking about it, Lulu's entire body went numb. Don't, even if you beat me to death, I don't want it, is that so? I think they're interested in you. Zi Shan also began to tease LV Tao. Those two sisters are rather pure, which means that they are both good women. Lulu laughed dryly. Zi Shan, don't mess with me, we can't do that. Everyone laughed but didn't say anything. Although it was a bit of a joke, this joke was pretty good too. Yi Hua carried his two wives and directly came to the bedroom. This caused Qingye and Donghuang Baiji's hearts to be in a mess, as if this was the first time they came to the bedroom. Do I shower first, or do you two shower first? Yi Hua looked at his two wives and was already unable to hold back his impatience. A raging fire was already burning in his stomach, and he wished that he could bite the two of them into pieces. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji escaped from their husband's embrace and held hands, looking just like a frightened rabbit. And right now, Yi Hua was the big bad wolf. Yi Hua, we. Qingye didn't know what to say anymore. Donghuang Baiji's heart was beating rapidly. I was clearly angry at Yi Hua, why did it become like this? Yi Hua said indifferently, Qingye, Baiji, this bedroom has created two lives, don't the two of you want to enjoy the process of creating two lives? Qingye and Donghuang Baiji were startled. If we don't leave now and get caught by Yi Hua, we will be dead for sure. That ferocious night was still vivid in their minds. Although we have reconciled now, you can't. Donghuang Baiji said hurriedly. She wasn't mentally prepared at all. Qingye said in a low voice, let's go. Yi Hua sneered, want to leave? How can it be that easy? Yi Hua grabbed towards Donghuang Baiji who was the closest to him. Qingye, save me. Donghuang Baiji was immediately pulled out by Yi Hua, and Qingye was lucky enough to escape from this calamity. Yi Hua didn't mind. In any case, the two of them wouldn't be serving me together, so I'll just grab one of them first and settle the raging fire within my body. Donghuang Baiji tried to push Yi Hua away with all her might and begged, Yi Hua, don't be like this, I am still not ready yet. This begging tone of hers caused Yi Hua's bestial nature to become even more berserk. Chapter 430. Yi Hua pushed aside Donghuang Baiji's hair. Do you know why we were able to have Ali in one go? Dong Huang Baiji thought to herself. Yi Hua's crooked logic is going to come out again. Because we spent an entire night that day. Yi Hua stretched out his hand and pinched his wife's cheeks, feeling the tenderness of her skin. Dong Huang Baiji wasn't going to fall for Yi Hua's trick. She pressed onto her husband's chest with both of her hands, but now, it's different from the past. That was a one-night stand, we are husband and wife now, we still have a lot of time in the future, we have to, Baiji, giving birth is a physical labor, we have to grasp every single second. You just enjoy the process of giving birth to a child. Dong Huang Baiji shouted out strenuously. Dong Huang Baiji was forced to retreat step by step. Yi Hua laughed lightly, killing two birds with one stone, isn't it? You bastard. Quickly stop. Hee, I won't stop for the rest of my life. The battle continued all the way until the sky gradually turned bright. Yi Hua hugged onto the Empress who had already fainted and let out a long breath. My waist is a bit uncomfortable, looks like I have to strengthen my body, at least I can't let my waist get sore. Yi Hua lightly wiped away the tears at the corner of Dong Huang Baiji's eyes. These should be tears of joy. However, looking at Dong Huang Baiji's delicate look, Yi Hua became a bit restless. After thinking about it, I decided to let the Empress rest for a while. This woman, no matter how high her cultivation is, she just can't do this kind of thing. However, thinking about Dong Huang Baiji's cultivation, Yi Hua decided to change it. Dong Huang Baiji wanted to give birth to a boy, that way, there would be hope for her to awaken the power of the East Emperor's bloodline. However, from Yi Hua's point of view, my bloodline is the strongest. Ali is able to perform very well, so I shall let Baiji awaken her bloodline by herself. Yi Hua lightly pressed onto the Empress's chest. Don't misunderstand, I am just casting a spell. Damn it, I am clearly taking advantage of her. A gentle golden light appeared on Yi Hua's hand, and soon after, it entered Dong Huang Baiji's body. Looking around, Dong Huang Baiji's entire body was dyed with golden light, to the point that her entire body had become transparent. Originally, Dong Huang Baiji was the descendant of Emperor Dong Huang, and she was still able to use the weakened version of her bloodline's power. Yi Hua's attack instantly activated Dong Huang Baiji's bloodline. The so-called awakening of the bloodline was equivalent to activating the bloodline in the body. In fact, everyone in the bloodline had it was just that they could not activate it. Gradually, the golden light on Dong Huang Baiji's body disappeared. Yi Hua looked at the Empress who had just awakened, and that pure and holy face of hers had undoubtedly caused Yi Hua's heart to beat once again. I, the Supreme Overlord, am too mesmerized by the fact that I am able to press my lovely wife under my body once again. Dong Huang Baiji, who was in a deep sleep, was once again woken up by her husband's intense movements. Yi Hua, can you let me rest for a while? It has already been an entire night, Yi Hua said gravely. Life lies in movement, and this is even more so in the morning. I will fight you to the death. Dong Huang Baiji actually flipped over and pressed Yi Hua down. Only now did she have the aura of a queen. Within Qing Yutong's room, right now, Qing Yutong and Yi Zizi were using pillows to cover their ears. They had already been messing around for an entire night, and before they could even rest for a bit, they had already started again. This was simply not human. Yi Zizi was still fine, but Qing Yutong was suffering. Hearing this kind of sound was too terrifying for a virgin like her. Right now, inside a certain majestic castle in Europe, a meeting was currently being held. There was a total of 11 people, 8 males and 3 females. One of the males was sitting on a chair that was made out of gold, and all of the males were wearing black suits, even the 3 females were wearing black suits. My emperor, the 2 princesses of the vampires have already been found, they are currently in Huaxia's Long city. One of the males bowed and said. The man who was sitting on the main seat said faintly, this time, we cannot let them escape. The purest blood of the vampires is extremely rare, and furthermore, it is enough to refine into blood wings. With that, I, the Emperor, will no longer have to fear the main gods. My Emperor, please be at ease. Subordinate has already planted the people in Long and City, and they are currently waiting to be captured. Very good. This time, we cannot afford to make any more mistakes. Yes. The man who was sitting on the main seat took a deep breath. How is the investigation of the incident that happened last time going? At this moment, a voluptuous woman walked out and said respectfully, "My Emperor, we are still in the midst of searching for that little girl. Wasted one of my primordial godly items. If that little girl could be of use to me, I would have long kicked over all of the gods in the shrine." The man suddenly became very irritable. Back then, when I found the little girl, she was still in a deep sleep. Originally, I wanted to directly kill the little girl, but in the end, the little girl was actually impervious to swords and spears. In the end, after investigating, I found out that the little girl was very terrifyingly strong. Therefore, I didn't hesitate to use the primordial godly item, Soul Devourer, to change the little girl's thinking and make her submit to me. Everything was going well, but suddenly, one day, I was told that all of the priests were dead, and the little girl was gone. Therefore, I can only look for other methods, and lock onto the two princesses of the vampires. However, I still didn't give up on searching for the little girl. After my Emperor has refined the purest blood of the vampires, we will definitely be able to defeat all of the gods. The man slowly stood up, and on his back, 6 pure black wings actually unfolded. Demon King Lucifer. Leisure Bar's second-floor bedroom. It was already noon. Yihua was hugging onto the soft empress, and his pair of big hands were wandering around the wilderness. Yihua, stop messing around, I don't even have the strength to move my fingers right now. Donghuang Baiji leaned onto her husband's embrace and said tenderly. She felt that her entire body was about to fall apart, and she didn't want to move at all. Looking at the Empress's current state, Yihua already understood that Lai Gu's theory was correct. Right now, don't talk about messing around, Donghuang Baiji didn't even have the strength to speak. To be able to make the most beautiful woman in the world into this state, Yihua felt especially great. What do you want to eat? I will prepare it for you. Yihua lightly caressed onto his wife's hair and asked concernedly. Baiji had worked hard this night. Donghuang Baiji moved slightly. I don't want to eat, just let me rest. How can that be? We still have to continue tonight. Donghuang Baiji felt like she was going to die. We still have to do it tonight. I don't want to. Donghuang Baiji said dizzily. She clearly wanted to refuse, but this powerless refusal made Yihua feel something again. Let's do it again then. Ah. Go and call Qinya, don't mess with me anymore. Qinya won't be able to run away either. It is more important for us to give birth to a child. Let's relax a bit, this is a very beautiful thing. You. If Donghuang Baiji knew that such a thing would happen when she came yesterday, she wouldn't have come even if she was beaten to death. Compared to 3 years ago, Yihua was even more ferocious. If it was an ordinary woman, how would she be able to endure it? She would definitely be killed by Yihua. Chapter 431. Mama, are Mama and Papa giving birth to a younger brother? Donghuang Li asked naively. In her heart, she was also very happy. Daddy and Mommy have finally reconciled with each other, and I finally don't have to worry about anything anymore. Now, I can obediently be a child who acts like a spoiled child, and in the future, I will bring my little brothers to play with me. I am so happy. Qinya was helpless, thinking to herself, Donghuang Baiji should be very happy right now, right? Qinya said, that's right, therefore, let's not disturb them. Oh, then when are we going back? Let's wait for another 4 to 5 days. In the past, if it wasn't for me using my pregnancy as an excuse, Yihua would have long made a move on me. Now that I have passed the first trimester of pregnancy, would Yihua let me off? Thinking back to how ferocious Yihua was that night, Qingye became afraid. Hopefully, Donghuang Baizhi would be able to withstand the first wave of damage. If Donghuang Baizhi were to find out that she was sold out by Qingye, she would definitely give Qingye a taste of Yihua's brutality at all costs. It was only the first wave of damage, and he was already about to be killed by Yihua. Right now, Donghuang Baizhi only had a single thought in her mind, and that was to get pregnant as soon as possible. That way, Yihua wouldn't be like this. Right now, Yihua was becoming more and more infatuated with his wife's delicate body, the kind that would ignite with just one look at her body, and he basically spent the entire day on the bed. The next day, it was still the same. This caused Donghuang Baizhi to want to run away. Right now, she doesn't even have the strength to speak. At night, there was not a single customer in the entire leisure bar. The 7 bar on the other side of the bar was overcrowded. Originally, he wanted to drive the customers, but he couldn't. However, the subordinates didn't mind at all, because Tang Wei, Zi Shan, and Sun Fang's resentment was very big. Look at his honor, he really dotes on his wife. After he came back, he didn't go downstairs for 2 days. They were both women, but your wife was much luckier. She looked at herself. She clearly had a man, but she couldn't move. Living as a widow. At this moment, Zi Shan, Tang Wei, and Sun Fang, the 3 women, were sitting on a booth at the side, and their faces were filled with hidden bitterness. What do you think these men are thinking? Why don't they learn from the supreme scholar? Zi Shan said angrily. I also wish that I won't be able to get out of bed for a few days. I have lived for a few thousand years, yet I don't even know what it feels like to be a woman. In the past, he hadn't met anyone he liked. Now that he had, it was still the same as before. It was too frustrating. Sun Fang sighed. You guys are lucky. At least men have meat. Look at mine. My bones are so hard that I need a cushion to use as a pillow. Let's go look for his honor and ask for a physical body. Zi Shan said. Sun Fang let out a long sigh of relief. I'm stuck at this point. If I let him do it, he'll be shy. If I were to do it, how could I, a girl, open my mouth? You are making me feel like I really want to. Don't you want to? Zi Shan was really straightforward, causing Sun Fang's beautiful face to turn bright red. They were simply 3 resentful women. It wasn't that the men couldn't do it, but that the men didn't even want to have sex with them. Tang Wei, what about you? Could it be that Uncle Wei still doesn't have any? Sun Fang asked curiously. Tang Wei wiped the glass cup that was in her hands. She had been wiping the glass cup for the entire night. Uncle Wei, I don't know what to say either. I don't even want to hint at him anymore. He can touch it whenever he wants to, let's just leave it to fate. Seems like Tang Wei has already seen through everything. No matter how crazily she tries to hint at Uncle Wei will not understand. Even if I strip naked and stand in front of Uncle Wei actually said, why aren't you wearing your clothes? You will catch a cold, quickly put on your clothes. From that moment onwards, Tang Wei completely gave up, because if she were to continue to hint at Uncle Wei, Tang Wei was afraid that she would suffer from internal injuries. Zi Shan said vexedly, I shouldn't have agreed to Yi Hong back then. Tang Wei smiled, Zi Shan, with your figure, just a little bit of temptation will do. My Uncle Wei doesn't even fall for temptation. Tang Wei, do you think that I have never tried to seduce someone before? I specially went to Jingdong to buy a set of see-through clothes, and in the end, do you know what Yi Hong said to me? Tang Wei and Sun Fang immediately became curious. For a man to be able to resist Zi Shan's temptation, that is also a miracle. Hong actually said, "It's going to be double 11 soon, and when that time comes, he should go and buy a discount." At that time, AF King wanted to break his legs. After finished speaking, Shan was angered to the point of laughing. Tang Wei and Sun Fang also laughed. "I am already dressed like this, and he actually wants to buy a discount, oh my god." Shan covered onto her face, and had a look that seemed as if she had nothing left to live for. Tang Wei patted onto Shan's shoulder. "Seems like we have met an honest and straightforward man." Sun Fang let out a breath. The little skeleton shouldn't be this honest and straightforward. After all, he doesn't have any flesh, so there's nothing I can do about it. Right at this moment, Tang Wei said in a low voice, "Do you guys know about Zhu Tian?" Sun Fang and Shan nodded their heads. They had met before, but they weren't familiar with each other. "I heard from Uncle Wei that Zhu Tian has 2 women that he does every day. Whoosh, these 3 women are truly bored to death, to actually start gossiping about this kind of thing. Furthermore, upon hearing about this kind of thing, their saliva almost flowed out from their mouths." Sun Fang also said in a low voice, "Li Gu seems to be the same as well, I really envy them." The 3 women let out a long sigh and looked towards the men who were not far away. Men naturally wouldn't discuss about this kind of low-level interest, it's simply too vulgar. Too vulgar. Wei Chang held onto his phone and tightly wrinkled his brows. "Death Mage, how many balls did you buy?" 3 balls, Manchester United wins. Death Mage was full of confidence and directly placed his bet. "Betting. This is my specialty. Not that I am boasting, but I will definitely be able to lead everyone to a prosperous life." Hong, how much did you buy?" The big brother LV Liang took a glance at Hong, and Hong immediately shrunk back. LV Liang raised his hand and slapped, "Don't think that just because you have a wife, I don't dare to hit you. Your wife even told me to keep a close eye on you, quickly let me take a look." Hong paused for a moment, then said in a low voice, "Don't tell Shan, I was saving it to buy a bag for her." Alright, I won't tell her." LV Liang took a look and sucked in a cold breath. K, aren't you afraid of getting beaten up by your wife? This little brother actually bet 5,000 RMB. That's 2 months' salary. You and Shan only get 5,000 RMB a month, and you used all of that to bet. LV Liang seemed to have already seen his little brother kneeling on the keyboard, and Shan sitting at the side looking at him coldly. "The multiplier is very high. If I were to win, I would be able to earn tens of thousands of yuan. What's more, Big Brother Skeleton said that he is the god of gamblers." Hong had blind trust in Death Mage. One must know that Death Mage was also someone who lived in a villa in the past, and after a match, he would immediately sleep on the overpass. "Big brother, how much did you buy?" Hong instantly took a peek at Death Mage, then immediately cried out in surprise, 10,000 RMB. "Sure. Be quiet, this is my wife's money." Wei Chang felt that he was able to trust his little brother. "I still have tens of thousands of yuan in savings, and I was originally planning to use it for my wedding, so I might as well take a gamble. Changing a bicycle into a motorcycle, giving Xiao Tang a better wedding, I can't let others suffer." Chapter 432. Death Mage had a mysterious amount of confidence towards himself. He had bet all of his money, which was a few 100,000. After he wins, he will go and show off in front of Sun Fang. "In the future, if you want to top up your money, you have to call me master, or else I won't top up my money. Besides, I'm no longer interested in cheating anymore." Wei Chang switched on the TV in the hall and put it on CCTV 5. It was about to start. The 4 men were very excited. This could be considered a bet. They couldn't lose. The 3 women sitting at the side were very curious. Why did these 4 men start watching football? Were they all so bored? However, Sun Fang still didn't know about Death Mage's dark history. That was because when they met, Death Mage had already sworn that he would no longer gamble on football anymore. Therefore, they didn't think too much about it, and the three women continued to chat about the vulgar topic. It couldn't be helped. They had a common topic, and the more they talked, the more enthusiastic they became. She was completely unaware that the men had already begun to gamble. LV Liang was fine. She was single, so no one would care even if she lost all her money. Yi Hong was different. He was a man with a family, and he still had to support his wife. Wei Chang was also the same. Although he was not married, he had already regarded Tang Wei as his lifelong companion. Death Mage was still as confident as ever. The ball's in. Manchester United scored the first goal of the game. Along with the commentator's high-pitched voice, the four men hammered the table. Bang! Instantly, it broke into pieces. The three women frowned and looked over. Why are you so excited about scoring a goal? I've never seen you guys watch football before. Wei Chang said in a low voice, calm down. Isn't it just a goal? Look at you guys, keep your cool. The three subordinates remained silent. Just now, Uncle Wei, you were the one who hammered harder. Very quickly, the first half of the game was over. Ever since that goal was scored, there was nothing else. The four men were in low spirits. Death Mage said, don't be anxious, there is still the second half. The second half began. Manchester United scored a goal in an instant, 2-0. The four men suppressed the excitement in their hearts and said in a low voice. Another goal. A bicycle turned into a motorbike. Yi Hong began to daydream. I won the bet, and I even won a lot of money. Will Zishan give me a kiss? Just thinking about it makes me excited. Yi Hong was not the only one filling in the blanks, the other three were also doing the same. 90 minutes were almost up, and he still had to score a goal. Death Mage was already unable to control his desire to cheat. If I don't score a goal after playing for 90 minutes. For Master. He had to cheat as well. He had to emphasize that this was not for himself, but for his master. I want to improve. 3 o'clock. Look, even if I lost, I didn't get any blame from my girlfriend. All the men remained silent. Uncle Wei, why did you guys gamble on a football match? Tang Wei said with hidden bitterness. Uncle Wei, you even got involved in gambling, why aren't you willing to get involved in gambling on a football match with me? The three of them immediately pointed at Death Mage. Death Mage immediately became stupefied. In the beginning, I was the only one betting, and it was you guys who were asking me what this was all about. In the end, you guys couldn't resist the temptation and joined in as well. If you guys didn't join in, would I be able to bet a few 100,000? I would definitely only bet around 10 to 20,000. Sun Fang was flustered and exasperated. She shouted, good for you. You don't learn good things all day and bring boss to gamble with others. Let me see how much you've lost. Sun Fang picked up Death Mage's phone and took a look at it, and she immediately felt dizzy. Right now, Death Mage doesn't have any source of income, and he is still living off his previous capital. And now, Death Mage just lost a few 100,000 in one go. Grabbing onto the Death Mage's robe, Yu Yang picked up the death side that was at the side and scolded while walking, you damn skeleton, after losing so much money, just wait and see how I'm going to kill you when we get back. Don't even think about topping up money to play games. Seeing that Death Mage was being dragged away by Sun Fang, the three men swallowed their saliva. Luckily, I didn't gamble too much, but what was the difference? They were all gambling. Tang Wei took a look at Wei Chang's phone and immediately felt a bit dizzy, however, she didn't scold Wei Chang like how Sun Fang did. She walked to the side and sat down. Meanwhile, Zishan also picked up Yi Hong's phone and took a look at it, and the corner of her mouth twitched. Yi Hong, you are truly becoming more and more formidable. To actually dare to gamble 5,000 RMB. Our 1 month's wages have all been gambled away by you. Are we going to eat dirt this month? We don't have to pay property fees, we don't have to pay electricity and water fees, and we don't have to pay gas fees either. Forget about the cosmetics, I don't need to put on makeup, but there should at least be 1 or 2 pieces of clothing, right? You still said that you want to wait until your career is successful, but from what I see, don't wait until your career is successful, you should just go back and give birth to your child first. Zishan was rather smart, using this as a pretext to make a fuss. Yi Hong felt that his face had lost all face. Since I am being looked down upon by my wife, I must definitely make some achievements for my wife to see, I can't let her look down on me. LV Shu, as the big brother, why didn't you persuade him? Zishan said towards Big Brother Green. Big Brother Green was a bit embarrassed, but he quickly covered it up. Zishan, wasn't it because I wasn't able to persuade him? Forget it, Big Brother, you can pay for this month's expenses first. Chapter 433. Wei Chang sighed deeply. He walked toward Tang Bingyao and sat down beside her. He did not know how to comfort Tang Bingyao, so he simply hugged her gently in his arms to express his apology. Seeing that Uncle Wei had succeeded, Yi Hong also wanted to follow suit. However, Yi Hong overestimated her position in the family. Her ears were immediately grabbed. Speak. Are you going to give birth or not? Yi Hong's attitude was very firm. Honey, don't worry. I won't let you down. Zishan was slightly startled. I agreed to it so quickly today, causing me to feel a bit embarrassed. I will work harder in the future and become a man worthy of you. When that time comes, I am willing to sacrifice myself. Hearing what Yi Hong said, Zishan's bashful little face froze, and soon after, she sent her little fist towards Yi Hong. I'll beat the shit out of you, you heartless man, you only know how to bully me. The small fists pounding on her chest were quite comfortable. Yi Hong imitated Uncle Wei and hugged his wife in his arms to comfort her. LV Liang was no longer able to continue watching this. Look at his honor, he has never displayed his dog food in front of his subordinates before. I'll just go out to get some fresh air and smoke a cigarette. He wanted to relax and wait until he returned to achieve his dreams with his own 2 hands. Everything was arranged in an open manner. While smoking the cigarette, LV Liang slowly raised his head and looked towards the sky. To think that there would still be birdmen appearing tonight, this is really like seeing a ghost. Just when LV Liang wanted to return to Leisure Bar, that group of birdmen actually landed in 7 Bar. This made LV Liang, who was about to enter, stop in her tracks. I, the dignified left protector of the Burying Love clan, will not meddle in other people's business, even if I lose everything. Furthermore, his honor didn't even ask me to take care of them, so why should I bother to take care of them? They are vampires, wake up, they aren't even humans. Who knows, they might have a bunch of sharp teeth down there, and if I were to bite them off, they might just snap them off. Thinking up to here, LV Liang shivered, and decided not to bother about it anymore. LV Liang suddenly looked up and saw the group of birdmen grabbing 2 pure white figures and flying into the night sky. It has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with me. LV Lu let out a light sigh. Who asked me to be a good person? I can't bear to see other people bullying girls, just that this girl is a vampire. Although I don't know if she has any, it would be good if I could just take a look at her. I am unlucky today to meddle in other people's business. Thinking about it, Yi Hong, I didn't say. LV Liang, who was following behind, saw that the 7 people in front of her had landed. She also hid quietly and peeped at the side. These foreigners' influence was quite complicated. 5 people actually came to capture 2 girls. Look at his honor, with 10 plus of he, his. And Xiao Xiao, Tian. Xiao Tian Tian, Liang. Xiao Chang, he I Xiao Xiao Hao Tian, the and the to Xiao tu. The 2. Liang, Tian Liang, and said, Liang. The Tang the yes to Liang to say, Liang, the Bing Yao the yen, yen, came, and started. At this moment, the 2 sisters were tied up. LV Liang had seen this binding technique before. It was quite professional and was commonly known as Asian binding. As, he. To, he. The prettier a woman is, the more likely she is to lie. My big brother Green has suffered losses before, you guys are unable to move my heart. Serena, contributing to the great Lucifer is your greatest honor. The one who spoke was called Julia, she had a voluptuous figure and seemed very charming. However, LV Liang felt that this person was even more not his type, she was more like an obeson. However, there is actually Lucifer, the demon king in the novels. I didn't expect that there would really be such a demon king in this world. Then, are the European gods real as well? Serena said coldly, even if we were to be wanted by a dog, we would still not yield to Lucifer. LV Liang felt that Serena's words were a bit too much, it can't be described like that, after all, humans and animals have different tastes. The younger sister, Selena, said in a sweet voice, kill us. Big sister and I will not contribute our purest blood. He contribute or not, it is not up to you guys to decide, my emperor will naturally have a way to pry open your legs. Taylor let out that obscene laughter. This man and woman were 2 of the 10 demon generals under Lucifer, they were 4-winged dark angels, and the other 3 men were 2-winged soldiers, there was no need to be afraid of them. LV Liang felt that Taylor was shameless. Back then, when I read novels, I liked Lucifer, but I didn't expect that Lucifer would actually do such a despicable thing in real life. If it was me, I will definitely use my love to open their legs. It is about time for me to go on stage. LV Liang took out his hair wax. That's right, Big Brother Green is currently carrying hair wax with him, all because he wants to imitate his honor's expression. Yihua lightly pinched. Puff. This is just like farting, it is a bit awkward. Who? The birdman could be seen immediately standing up and looking around vigilantly. The 2 sisters who were tied up were also looking around curiously. If someone were to come and save them right now, they will definitely repay the hero with their lives. LV Liang hurriedly squeezed out the hair wax and smeared it on his hair, then combed it back. Yihua took out a small mirror from his windbreaker and took a look at his appearance. All right. It is time for me to go on stage. LV Liang could be seen standing with his hands behind his back, imitating his honor's walking posture and expression. Taylor and Julia looked at the green man in front of them confusedly, and when the 2 sisters saw that it was LV Liang who came, their hearts burst with joy. If they had a choice, they would rather hand over the purest blood to him than to give it to Lucifer. LV Liang didn't know what to say. I have learned quite a few of his honor's sayings, but that kind of tone and aura is too hard to learn. All of you are going to die today. LV Liang said coldly. The atmosphere immediately dropped to the freezing point. LV Liang was very satisfied with this effect. I feel that I have moved another 0.1 millimeter closer to his honor. However, Selena cried out in surprise, Big sister and I are going to die as well. No, I am here to save you too. LV Liang hurriedly explained. However, after Yihua explained, the atmosphere that was just created just a moment ago immediately disappeared. Damn it, I actually met with a pig teammate. Forget it, I am unable to learn his honor's charm, I will just take the comical route. Who are you? Julia shouted out. Lu touched her own hairstyle and felt that it was very cool. At this moment, Serene whispered, "Sister, he's so handsome." Yes. Serena nodded. It seemed that foreigners had a strange sense of beauty. Good question. I'm the left guardian of the Deathbane clan. Liang. His nickname is Big Brother Green. He flicked his windbreaker and pointed at everyone. This posture was a little cool. So handsome. The little fangirl, Serene, started cheering for Liang. Liang was not used to it. This was the first time she had been praised like this. She was a little excited. No. This vampire was obviously trying to hint at him. Chapter 434. How gentlemanly, Serene, his little fangirl, shouted in infatuation. Although her sister, Serena, didn't show it, she felt that Liang was very manly. He actually dared to save her and her sister single-handedly. The other party was a demon general under Lucifer. His combat power was terrifying. With this courage, he had already obtained his affirmation. His younger sister was already beyond crazy. Lulu let out a light sigh. Ever since she started following his honor, she felt that she had become more confident, more energetic, and greener. Lulu said to the two sisters, "Don't misunderstand, and don't have any other thoughts towards me. There will never be a happy ending between us." "Sister, he's so tasty." Serene had a lot of complaints. Suddenly encountering such a man, she couldn't control herself. "Well, it's indeed very tasty." After saying that, he even licked the corner of his mouth. F***ck, you guys actually want to suck me. Vampires indeed. Always thinking about sucking people. Shut up, all of you. Julia shouted angrily. What do you mean by this? He was still in the mood to talk about love. Liang said to the two sisters, "Now that you're safe, take a taxi back." "I don't have money." "I have money," Serene said hastily. "Oh my god, they actually want to use money to smash me. Kill." Taylor couldn't take it anymore. The 4 black wings on his back spread out in an instant. A two-handed sword appeared in his hand and he slashed at Liang. Piercingly cold sword energy swept through the surroundings, while the voluptuous Julia transformed into a trident and attacked at top speed. Facing the attacks of the demon generals, Liang put away her smile and raised her hands. He caught the blade with his bare hands. "Are you afraid or not?" Boom! The two sisters were dumbstruck as they looked at the scene. He surrendered just like that. The way Liang raised her hands made the sisters think that she was surrendering. If Liang knew about this, she really wouldn't know what to say. "I am the subordinate of his honor's subordinate. Although my level is the lowest, that is only within the team." After the smoke dispersed, the two sisters stared dumbfoundedly, their exquisite little faces filled with astonishment. He had actually caught the attacks of 2 great demon generals barehanded. How was this possible? It was unbelievable. They saw that the ground under Liang's feet had completely collapsed, but her body was still standing straight. Her tall figure made the two sisters fall into a state of stupor. Who didn't like a hero who saved them? Originally, she thought that she was doomed this time and would become Lucifer's slave in the future. She didn't expect a hero to appear. Shouldn't a beauty be matched with such a hero? Liang sneaked a peek at the two siblings and thought to herself, "Oh no. They must be attracted by my figure." Taylor and Julia were surprised. This mysterious Easterner could actually catch their attacks with his bare hands. How was that possible? Although it was said that the Easterners were mysterious, it was impossible for them to be this mysterious. Moreover, he had been ignoring her from the beginning to the end, flirting with the two bloodlings. LV Liang wanted to explain that she wasn't talking about love, okay? Can you guys have some brains? Retreat. Julia gave the clearest instruction. This man was no match for him at all. This mysterious Asian man was terrifying. Lulu snorted coldly. Want to leave? How can you birdmen come and go as you please in His Honor's territory? Immediately, 5 strands of black mist shot out from her hands and bound the 5 birdmen in the air and forcefully dragged them back. LV Liang looked at these birdmen coldly. Since they can kidnap us today, perhaps they can kidnap little Ollie tomorrow as well. I definitely can't let them live. After the bloodbath in the Imperial City, Big Brother Green was no longer the Big Brother Green from before. When he gets serious, he is more cold-blooded than anyone else. What are you trying to do? Julia had a panicked look on her face as she struggled with all her might. LV Liang walked over slowly and asked, I wonder what would happen if I were to pluck out your wings. You. I will experiment on your underlings first. After finished speaking, Lulu walked to the back of one of the underlings, grabbed onto the wing on his back, and pulled out fiercely. Looking at the wing in his hand, LV Liang said slowly, if only it was a chicken wing. Speaking of chicken wings, I kind of want to eat KFC. The underling who lost his wings immediately let out a miserable shriek, then turned into black particles that floated into the air. However, what LV Liang didn't know was that to angels, plucking out their wings was the most severe punishment. Very quickly, 3 underlings were freed. Lord Lucifer won't let you off. Julia didn't beg for mercy and stared coldly at LV Liang. Oh, I got it. Yihua pulled out his hands. Ah! A pair of black wings were forcefully pulled out by LV Liang, causing Julia to let out a terrifying shriek. Soon after, Yihua pulled out his hands again and completely freed Julia. Taylor said gravely, the gods won't let you off. You will pay a painful price for today's actions. Oh, Taylor, after plucking out all of the birdmen, the world became quiet again. Walking to the 2 sisters' side, Yihua loosened the Asian bindings. All right, the 2 of you are safe now, quickly go home. LV Liang threw away the rope in his hand. The 2 sisters took a look at each other, then lightly kneeled down in front of LV Liang. This gave LV Liang a fright, and he hurriedly helped the 2 sisters up. I can't accept this. LV Liang, thank you for being able to accept me and big sister. Selena slightly lowered her head and said in a low voice. Nanny. When did I accept you? You guys can't scam me like this, don't bully me for being honest and insensible. LV Liang said with a smile, misunderstanding, but you helped us up just now. Selena said with grievance. Ah. LV Liang cried out in surprise. Big sister Selena said gravely, just now, little sister and I used the greatest etiquette of vampires, if you accept us, you can help us up. But the 2 of you didn't say that. You didn't ask. Little sister Selena said pitifully. LV Liang was really going to be speechless. I give full marks to you 2 for scamming me. It's true, you 2 really misunderstood, we are not suitable for each other. LV Liang hurriedly explained. It wasn't that he was acting cool, it was just that he really didn't like vampires. If the other party was 2 ordinary girls, he would definitely accept them. After hearing that, the 2 sisters silently lowered their heads. Do it then. Selena said faintly. LV Liang was confused, do what? This place isn't suitable, right? The etiquette is already done, if you don't want to accept us sisters, then please execute us. You can be at ease, us sisters won't have any complaints towards you. You are a powerful king, it is us who aren't worthy of you, bringing you inconveniences. Little sister and I are sorry. When the hard method doesn't work, the soft method comes. The hard method really doesn't work. You're tuning into the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.